Hey guys, I think pretty much everybody's probably tried a swim jig out there at some point or another. If you bass fish very much, a swim jig is a very universal bait. It's very versatile. You can skip it under docks, through grass, laydowns, whatever it may be. It can mimic a lot of things: a crawfish, bait fish. Whether it's a bluegill or a shad. A swim jig does a lot of different things and does a lot of them very well, especially around cover. One thing I've been doing with the swim jig a lot is really making my own. And it's still a Dirty Jigs Tactical Bass, and I believe it's a Matt Allen. This is a 1/2 ounce head, but one without a weed guard. In open water, a swim jig can be really effective, and you don't see it used that much. Everybody assumes a swim jig is going to be something you're skipping up in that heavy cover, whether it's reeds, laydowns, whatever it may be. The open water swim jig is something I've been doing a lot the last few years and getting a lot of bites. I like the no weed guard for a couple reasons. One is the obvious. The hookup ratio is better. A lot of times you end up with a lot more line out in open water. Here, like this 1/2 ounce one, I'm going to be fishing it deeper. So it ends up, I get a lot of line stretch if I'm throwing it on fluorocarbon out there in that open water, which in open water, I do throw it on fluorocarbon most of the time. There's a lot more area for those fish to see the surroundings there. They don't have that bait coming through cover and stuff. So I'll throw it on fluorocarbon, but that hookup ratio is one thing that's huge without a weed guard. The other is body roll. I throw a swim bait on it most of the time when I throw a swim jig with no weed guard. And body roll is really important to get action out of that bait. So it's different swim baits will give you a different body roll. This is a Z-Man diesel minnow on there, but body roll is when the tail of the bait actually causes your bait to wobble in the water. Without a weed guard on there, it doubles. A tremendous difference in the amount of body roll you get without that weed guard. So it's something that you get a lot more action out of it, which is even more important when you're in the open water than it is around cover, because that cover is imparting a lot of action when it bounces off of stuff, comes through cover. A lot of that's a reaction strike. Here, it's a lot more open. So you want that bait to roll. Again, the swim bait's the best trailer for me in that situation. Generally, without a weed guard, I'm throwing something that looks like some sort of bait fish, whether it's a bluegill or a shad. Here, obviously, a shad imitator. In that body roll without the weed guard, huge amount of action. Again, hookup ratio is awesome. So it's just something different, a different variation of a swim bait and a swim jig, because it has no weed guard. Of course, we have the skirt though. Another thing it's really good for is smallmouth and spotted bass. It's a bait you can burn really well under the surface, better than any spinner bait. Any skirted bait I know of, you can burn that bait better than any of them, and it reacts a lot quicker. It doesn't have anything to slow it down. Blades, whether it's a chatterbait or a spinner bait, nothing slows it down. So the bait tends to pop, it falls quicker, it just reacts a lot quicker to everything you do to the bait, which smallmouth and spotted bass, really important when you're in that open water, working it fast. Give it a try, a weedless or a non-weedless swim jig. And again, this is my favorite head for it, the Dirty Jig swim bait head. This is a skirt I made. Tons of different skirts out there. Match with your favorite swim bait trailer. The bigger the tail, a lot of times the more body roll you get, but you need to experiment. All swim bait trailers really change the amount of body roll you get and more action out of your bait.